The West's divisiveness is becoming increasingly visible, and attempts to isolate Russian athletes from world sport have been a complete failure. Western sports officials were simply stunned when they learned that their own athletes were traveling to Russia. The Games of the Future, now underway in Kazan, have completely turned the sports world upside down. Russian athletes are banned from competing in international competitions, and if someone is still allowed in, it is only under strict conditions under a neutral flag and without the anthem. In such a situation, the IOC motto that sport should unite people regardless of politics loses all meaning. However, Russia has chosen a different path. If you do not want to see us at international competitions, we will organize our own. And not just any competition, but a completely new format, the Games of the Future. The Games are not over yet, but 8 countries have already expressed their desire to host the next Games of the Future. It is especially noteworthy that more than 1 billion people have already watched the opening ceremony. This huge interest in the Games even surprised Russian President Vladimir Putin. It turned out that the opening ceremony was broadcasted by many American and European sports channels, and the recording of the broadcast quickly spread on social networks and continues to gain views, causing admiration for the new format of the Games and their organization. Naturally, such a resounding success of the Russian competitions has caused irritation and concern among representatives of the International Olympic Committee. But what angered them the most was the fact that many athletes from the so-called hostile countries, despite warnings from the IOC about the possible consequences of participation in the Games in Russia, still came and showed their brilliance in the sports arenas of Kazan. It is worth noting that athletes from the USA, Italy, Spain, Great Britain, and many other Western countries have arrived at the Games of the Future in Kazan. The total number of participants at the Russian competitions exceeds 2,000 from 107 countries. All this shows that the attempts to isolate Russia have failed, despite the many efforts made by former Western partners. It becomes interesting to remember how many votes and talks there were that no one would go to Russia and Russians would only compete with themselves. The results are really impressive, and this is just the beginning. The tournament will last until March 3rd. More than 600 Russian and foreign media are going to cover it, and broadcasts are expected not only on TV channels, but also on digital platforms. So viewers all over the world can evaluate the scale of the event and give their own assessment of it.